Stop. Just stop. Oh, gosh. Chula, you have.
Hello?
Can't hear you, Francesca.
Okay, can you guys hear me? All right, hold on. Can you hear me now? You can only hear me when I unmute myself. Okay, that brings an echo though, right? Are you guys getting backseat and an echo? Okay, let me figure this out. Hang on.
I'm not sure that you can have the phone going and the computer at the same time.
I know, the problem is that I can't, hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me? You can hear me now? I fixed it. All right, awesome. Here we go. So everyone, welcome. I'd like you guys to share this far and wide. I want to thank the groups that are in here right now. I want to thank the frontline advocates, Susan, Cobb, Sandra, RN. I can't tell who's actually all in here right now. I'm hoping that David Jose will come on. If somebody can please try to get his attention. Lazaro, any social media people with a large social media presence. I need you guys in here. or at least to put it in, maybe you guys are in under a different name. I see like LG Stylo, and I see one with a phone number, and I don't know if that's possibly some of my other people. I know the Constitution Party was coming in. So what we're going to talk about today is a lot of things. We're calling this Operation Special Brownies, first of all, and welcome to Punish for Protecting. This is a very, very, very special live video that we're doing today. And I just want to thank everybody that's participating. Please share it to your social media pages, share it with your entire friends list right now so we can get the word out. What I'd like to do right now is talk about the fact that families have been victimized all over our country, all over our globe, correct? And we have now, we've put them on notice. We've put them on notice before Congress. We put them on the state of New York. The state of New York we have shaken up. I will be getting a date any day now with a roundtable before the New York Assembly again and the Judicial Board. Okay. And I know all of your stories, most of your stories that I've already been very much involved in. We've done affidavits. We've done all kinds of stuff under oath. And what we're doing right now is we want to prosecute them. And I did have Don Ruffy in here a minute ago. I think he froze and hopefully he'll come back in. We want to prosecute them. We have had enough of the damages that they have done to us, and they cannot remain open any longer. The system is an absolute and utter fraud. Okay. The system is the gateway door. It is the door to child trafficking in our nation. If you're noticing now, traffickers are being caught all over the place. And if you're noticing now that this is being exposed even more, now they're finding all these traffickers, right? Because what they're going to do is they're going to have a lot of fall guys. And I'm not saying that these people didn't actually traffic children, but they don't want to point out where they're actually coming from. And I'm going to say this every day until every single last one of them are behind bars. They are the family court judges. And it's not just the family court judges. It is these lying CPS workers, these lying guardian ad litems, these lying child attorneys, and none of them can be trusted. If you think for 1 second they can be trusted, you still haven't gotten it yet. And you need to understand that the system works among itself. It polices itself. It does not ever get held accountable for what they've done. These are not just what I talk about, the 5 to 6 years of decades of abuse to families that's gotten worse and worse and worse as the years compounded injuries that I talked about before that they cause to families, that they cause to you, that they cause to me and our children above all. They are ruining our country. We have right now Andrew Cuomo. He is the son of Mario Cuomo. Okay, he dedicated our Tappan Zee Bridge to his father. It is still my Tappan Zee Bridge, and I know New Yorkers feel the same way. Okay, it is not the Mario Cuomo Bridge. It is the Tappan Zee Bridge, even though he changed the name. Right now, he's opening up detention centers for anyone who considers to have diseases. He's now giving permission to doctors to kill your families, to euthanize your families. He wants to euthanize your families. Hello? How can we trust them with anything that they do? How can we have faith in a judicial system that does nothing right and hasn't for all these decades? Okay? How can we have any faith in a system? How can we be a puppet to a system? How can we allow them to do this to us any longer? I ran as a write-in candidate for governor to save the state of New York from this man and to get rid of the judges in family court from the top to the bottom of the state, wall to wall of the state of New York. But if you're watching right now and you're anywhere else in the nation, keep watching, because what we're about to do is to do a citizen's arrest, a real arrest. And we're going to do it in a legal way, in a lawful way, in the way that we have the rights to do. Okay? Our government, and I'm sure you all can agree, our government is not for us. It's very sad. It's very sad. And it's an old, acclimated system. Can anybody agree with that? That doesn't fit in modern society. Nothing about it fits in modern society. First of all, it was never voted in by the people. They will tell you, well, the legislators put it through. Yes, they did, without the consent of you or me, throughout the country. It started in the state of New York, and here's where we're going to make sure it ends. I want to see my fellow New Yorkers be the New Yorkers that we are. Are we not like one of the cream of the crop when it comes to standing for each other and protecting one another? What happened on 9/11, I would like to see that happen again amongst New Yorkers. What happened here in 9/11, right? I want to see that heart come back again right now, because you see, 9/11 hasn't stopped. 9/11 started before 9/11, and 9/11 continues till this day. And why? Because they're robbing you of your families, and they're not just doing it in the state of New York, because obviously 9/11 affected our whole country. Did it not? Did it not? So what I want to do right now is I want to get everybody. The first citizens arrest day that I did was January 3rd in 2018. It signified the day that my son was stolen. My son, they actually crossed state lines into the state of West Virginia. I never had an attorney, and the judge that did it, Anthony McGinty, has been in trouble for taking a child from a mother that didn't have an attorney, and he did the same thing to me, and yet they did not appeal. The appellate court did not fix that. Okay. There's a lot to my story too, and I'm not here to tell my story. I'm here to listen to your stories. My story is representative of all of you. Okay. The book became a bestseller twice because people could relate. That good and innocent people that have no criminal backgrounds, even though people get criminal backgrounds for doing nothing wrong these days, but that good and innocent mothers and fathers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, and the works, and on, okay, are being damaged, injured every single day by the family court, and have been, like I said, for decades, okay? And the history of this goes way back before even the family court. The demon part of this goes way back. Sojourner Truth is one of the people that I just absolutely adore. If you don't know who she is, she was a slave here in Ulster County, New York, okay? She was owned by a slave driver. And when they had a child together, she won. Let's talk about the ultimate badass back in the day. She won in Ulster County, New York. Just imagine that. She won against a white slave driver. That was impossible. And so what we're doing today is impossible, but we're going to win too. Okay, because we've had enough of this. Time of Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, so it doesn't matter what background you have. There's not a family that's untouched by this. So what we're going to be doing is I have already collected countless victims. And you could do it under oath. You could do it with the red fingerprint, which Jody's going to explain in a minute here. And you're going to explain what that is for the audience, okay? If you could, and just do it in about like a minute or so. And under oath, or however you want, you've already began the process. We're going to do criminal complaints against you, starting with the state of New York. Now, what I need from, give me a minute. I just reconnected. What I need from everyone is I'm going to need, sorry for that. I'm going to need, hold on. You hear him back, please? All right, hold on. Can you hear me? Okay, hold on. I'm going to take myself off this one. All right. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to need people that are leaders to help at this time. I'm going to need people to make groups across the country at this time. I'm going to need people to take on the victims in your areas at this time. Okay, if they've already gotten a timeline from me, that's great. If you already did an affidavit with David Jose, that's great. You can use those. We're going to file criminal complaints, and what we're going to do is we're going to have them compiled. For example, Jane Doe, John Doe, Mary Doe, Sam Doe, and all the list of families against phony judge, whoever,
okay, Sam Jones, okay? All of those are going to get, those criminal complaints are going to go, that we want them prosecuted, okay? So we're going to categorize each judge, list of their victims. Like McGinty, I have over 250 of them. Gruber, I don't know if Miriam is on right now. We're collecting, that's a Kings County judge whose husband actually owns an adoption agency. So they steal the children through ACS, Brooklyn, and they submit them through him. The money's funneled through there. The adoption agency and the husband gives the children to his wife, the judge. Hello? Anybody hear what I'm saying right now? You understand how wicked that is? Okay? But this is happening across the country. So these bar members that are not licensed attorneys, they've been lying to the people. Okay? All you need is interpretation of law in these state courts, right? And it's an anything goes system, as everybody knows. So we're going after them. If you've been a victim and you're watching this, if you've been a victim of family court, okay, get a hold of us because we need to get this moved, and we need typers. We need people to type. We need people who are willing to work right now, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. So please, but we need it. We need these people to type. We need these affidavits done, or timelines with a stamp, however you want to do it. All these complaints, we're going to submit them. We're going to file them. We're going to demand prosecution of these judges. We're going to demand it. They're not going to say no to us anymore. Okay? That's why I need this video to spread like wildfire. We have the Constitution Party of New York backing us. We have others backing us that I can't say publicly. Some of you in here know. Okay? And we're going to enforce the law. And what is the law? Well, number one, the courts are running on treason. Number one, running on treason. They shouldn't have opened. And once I gave notice of the New York State Assembly, and when David Jose gave notice before Congress, they shouldn't have opened the next day. Audits should have been done immediately. The process should have started. You see how they're impeaching the president? Excuse me, we got a real issue here. We got children being trafficked through family court. So now you're starting to see all over the news. What are you seeing, guys? What are you seeing? Well, we've been seeing the trafficking being exposed for, about 2 years now, okay? Now that it's tied to family court, now all of a sudden we're finding all these child traffickers. Oh, wow. How do you think they got the kids in the first place? They got taken from a protective, loving parent or parents, given to the abusive parent so CPS could step in and get them out into foster care, get them sold into child trafficking. And no one is going to tell me different because we've done this work for 12 years and proven it. We've proven it. And we, the people, are the real experts. Not who these judges deem experts and then don't even take their testimony after if the testimony defies their narrative as they're endangering your children, my children, our nation's children. Public schools are being exposed all over the place right now. People are pulling out of public schools like crazy right now in mass numbers. No one wants to have their children forced to take vaccines. My sister is a national, she's a global expert, holistic practitioner, and she sees the kids that are vaccine damaged all the time. Okay, she's able to reverse a lot of that damage. They do some detoxing, but she keeps warning the parents, don't just do it because you're scared, because something very bad can and does happen to your children. Okay, and don't just do it because you're scared that you have to keep them in their public schools where they're being brainwashed anyway. Let's just think about some of the brainwashing that goes on in public schools, because we've all been through public schools. And don't get me wrong, there's some stuff that's good in public schools. There's some things that are sad, that kids have to miss out on sports. Kids have to miss out on their prom, like those milestones that we all got to do. Some of us didn't. But those special things, the Friday night football, the certain things that as a nation we love, right? But we have to suffer because we're going to be what? We're going to be segregated? Excuse me? But at the same time, though, these public schools have been delusioning our children, delusioning us all these years, teaching us lies about history, teaching us things that have gotten us to the point where we are today. And it's time that we wake up. And of course, let's face it, what's the number one reason why this has happened? Does anybody know the answer to that? Well, we scraped, and God we trust, off the back of the walls of the court. We took the 10 Commandments down out of the schools. Anybody else want to hear a little bit about that? And now we're up to our own man without God world. And now we're dealing with man being our God versus God being our God, who only wanted to love and protect us. And now what's happening? So it's time that we first and foremost make our way back to him, number one, and then fight together to get this bondage off of us and away from our children. Children have no respect in this country. Zero. And the joke about giving children child attorneys, It's very simple. As an adult, if you've been victimized by something and you have to see an attorney, let's just say, and I'm just doing this, I don't believe in them. I'm just trying to keep making common sense to people so they understand how serious this is. When families, or when people have been victimized by something and they go to see an attorney and they want to bring in an advocate with them because they've been harmed by something. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. And you've been harmed, but a child is told that they have the same rights as adults, so they have to have a child attorney in a fake family court. But that child can't bring in their trusted, loving parent. Okay, their rights are being violated. Their rights are being violated. Or when a child attorney goes into a school, okay, without parental consent, or a CPS worker goes into a school without legal consent of any legal right whatsoever, and harass your children in school, twist what they say, manipulate what they say, again to suit their narrative, to steal your children, what's going on in this country? Why aren't all people up in arms about this? Everyone should know that this is dangerous. That's happening. Does anybody want to speak right now? Put your hand up if you want to speak. Actually, no. Before I have you speak, I want Jody to go ahead and explain the red thumbprint, please. Could you do that for me and unmute yourself?
So, when this whole thing started, can you hear me? Oh, good. So when this whole thing started, I just was blessed with so many angels to be able to help me get through this experience on December 2nd when CPS kidnapped my son. And I was given an affidavit that was very, very powerful from my brother, Tony. He can be people's champion. You know, he can tell you all about this. Unfortunately, I'm not sure he can be able to be on right now. Jen's not able to be on right now. But the thing is that when you put your red thumbprint on over your autograph is what you want to call it, not your signature. And you want to sign it in a way that is in cursive writing, but you want to do it as the natural person. So you'd say, like, for example, Jody, and then dash, they call it a hyphen. And then from there you put Lynn, my middle name, and then you put a colon, and then you put Gracer, and then you put over the last two letters of the last name, you put your red thumbprint in over that in red ink. And so then when you do that, it's actually sealing that is your DNA on that paperwork. I hope I explained this correctly, because again, I'm just very new to all this. And so anyways, I also was told by my other sister, she's from the Morse bloodline, and she said that if you wanted to just put your red thumbprint, that would actually be enough to have your autograph be that's you. You don't actually have to sign it. So, I mean, it's a lot of information to be able to learn what's right, what's wrong, what some people do versus what other people do. Some people think that, you know, it's about detail. Some people think it's about more of intention of what you're doing, and that the mistakes will fix themselves by themselves through, you know, God or the universe, whatever you want to call it. But the red thumbprint is really important to know because it seals your DNA on that paperwork. So I hope that explains some of that to you guys.
Okay, so now there's two ways you can do it. Like I said, I agree with the way Jody's talking about. That is our proper right, okay? And I want you guys to pick the one you feel most comfortable with, though, okay? I would have to go with Jody, but also we are demanding that our district attorney's offices, attorney general's office, we're going to prosecute them, and we're also going to do this through the sheriff's department as well. We have other stuff that I'm not actually saying it all clearly on public, but we will be holding probably one or two more meetings after this before January 3rd somehow. I'm going to try to figure this out. I think what I'm going to be doing is adding people to a special group that we have too, that I need as leaders to help us get this all out. Okay, so that we can start prosecuting these judges. And again, I'm going to be doing the roundtable in the state of New York, going after them for what they've been doing as crimes. These are crimes. These are crimes. These are crimes at the highest level. This is treason, period. period. Who wants to speak? Put your hand up. I know I have Sandra on. I'm not sure if she can. Are you able to talk, Sandra? I'd like to hear her talk about this.
Fran,
Yes,
can you hear me okay?
yes.
I think it's very important that we, as we the people, petition our leaders of government. And it is very important, the power they have subpoena power, and to petition the government for that subpoena power. We have we could write a letter of remonstrance. Everyone needs to be doing that, and floodgating our House of Representatives and floodgating the Senate, and making our voices heard and known that we will not lay down and allow you to steal our children. We are not going to allow you to steal taxpayers' dollars with state-sponsored kidnapping under the Clintons' 1997 Act that enables them to garnish $4,000 to $7,000 per child. That's up to $89,000 per child per year. They are making a killing, Fran, okay, off of the backs of our children, our innocent children. And here's the thing: in Maricopa County, 2 judges, Amy Anderson and Brian Clark, admit that they falsified documents to attach the out-of-home placements to children, okay? They are online on YouTube, and I will send you those links, Fran, that they admit for all to hear that they falsified documents here in Maricopa County, and they colluded with the Attorney General's office, and they falsified documents to attach the out-of-home placement to the child, and to they also Brian Anderson and Amy Anderson and Brian Clark has also went online and stated that 90% of mothers are willing and able, but they have to document that as we are not willing and able. They have to falsify once again to attach the funding to the child. They have to falsify documents. That's the only way they can do that. They are very well aware that 90%, and they've admitted 90% of mothers are willing and able. Let that sink in. And then they document it that the mother is not willing and able, so they can attach the funding to the child for out-of-home placement. This is beyond corrupt, and I believe Senator Farnsworth is starting to call that out here in our state. And we need to also we also have to make aware to our senators and our lawmakers in our states, and make them very well aware of what's going on in the name of obtaining Title 40 funding, 4D funding.
I am so amazed.
What it's called
Yeah.
is state-sponsored kidnapping on taxpayers' dime.
I am so amazed with Senator Farnsworth. He is awesome
Yes,
in the
he
state
is.
of
He's
Arizona.
amazing.
He's a wonderful man. He's fighting very hard. He's speaking out publicly. He's giving the statistics. I'm very proud of him. I'm a little
Amen.
upset with Facebook right now. I don't know if it's Facebook, because I normally know I get way more views than this. Guys, I need you guys to rock this right now. I mean, everybody wants help, and you guys literally put bags under my eyes every day from contacting me around the clock. And yet now they kick some ass. Where are you? Where are you? Why is it that whenever we have something to do, everybody's like, we got 25 people inside. We got 15 people inside this group, but you have no idea how many people told me they were going to be here today. Okay? It's shameful, because these are your children. Okay? These are the answers that you need right now. We need to take the system down. This is war. It's been war. When you have a child taken, one is too many in this country. One is too many to die. One is too many to be abused. Okay? And they're not going to help you. You as families and parents are the ones that have to do it. That means you have to get your hands ready to go and start writing. You need to get your faces out there and start showing who you are. You need to start talking about this. You need to start sharing these videos. Invite your damn list right now on social media and let's get the word out. There are massive groups out there on social media. Massive groups. Start sending this out right now. Get ready to do, like she just got done saying, I agree 100%. We need to do these remonstrances. We need to strike while the iron is hot, and it's hot right now in the state of New York. That's why we're fighting like this. I've got children that when they're being molested, the second they find out they're being molested, they put them in the hands of the molester. And I'm sick and tired of it. And you should be too. Okay, the woman you just saw speaking, Arlena, there's nothing wrong with her at all. She's never done one thing wrong. She's a primary fit caretaker of a child, a boy, who has special needs. That's compounded violations against his mother and child. And they haven't given him back to her. That's one of millions because she's not an isolated case. I have another mother on here right now that there's something radically wrong when a child keeps getting a urinary tract infections and vaginitis. And yet the father who's questionable about this has carte blanche access and she can't bring the child to the doctor. Are you kidding me? I gave up work for 3 years. I've been raising my son for over 12. I have a grown married daughter who raised to be an amazing person. And if my family can go through this and your families can go through this, nobody's exempt from going through this. Anthony McGinty is a sick psychotic judge in Ulster County, New York. We've been going after him since 2014, people prior to that, and he's still sitting there. The district attorney's office knows about all the damages he's caused families. We know about the father he just put in jail when he freaking destroyed his entire family. We know about the mothers he's put in jail repeatedly because he's sick in the head. I have doctors, forensic medical evidence with forensics, with blood in children's diapers every time they leave a freaking visit. And what do? They put the children with that person. We need to rise up as a nation now. I've been saying this now. The firearm bill has been going off for years. Our president is not going to do anything about it. He knows about it. He's safer than the other choices. But okay? Wake up, America. Wake up. Who else wants to speak?
What? I don't even know if you can hear me.
Yeah, and tell me who you are, and then go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is Tasha. I've never done this before.
I don't even know. Bit up, but we can hear you.
I don't even know what to say. Honestly, I'm speechless. I'm with you. I just came into the conversation and I'm like, I'm about to break down in tears.
I don't want people to break down in tears, and I don't want you to be hurt any further. But
sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to listen. I'm not ready to talk yet, but yeah, you know, you're speaking the truth. I know it, and it's heartbreaking, you know, when you tell the story, what you just told me. But yeah, I just want to listen for a while because I'm just glad to be in on the conversation. I want to hear you some more, so let someone else talk who wants to talk, and when I'm ready to talk, I'll let you know.
We're live on social media, everybody. We're live on social media. We need to get the word out. We need to do this. We're going to be putting a stop to criminal prosecution of family court judges. I think what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to turn it over to my honorary dad, Don Ruffy, and if you could go ahead, Don, and speak on Title 18, Section 241 and 2, and what we're doing. Because nobody can talk about it better than him. Go ahead, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay.
Did I get him unmuted? Can we get Don unmuted so we can hear him?
I can't hear him. What happened?
Okay, hold on. We'll get him unmuted. I need this thing shared, guys. We need to share. We need to use social media right now like we've never used it before. The family rights movement should have millions of protesters, not thousands, not hundreds at events, millions of protesters, because this is happening to every single family in our country. Everybody's suffering from this. Can I Don, can we get him unmuted so we can hear him talk, please? I, for one, do not want to see this go into 2020. Don, can we hear, can you speak? Can I test your sound? I may have to, here, hang on. Hold on, I'm just sending him a message. So everybody that's watching too, everyone that's watching, I want you guys to understand that, John, if you could speak and talk about Title 18, Section 241 and 2 for us, and then everyone that's out there watching right now, if you could please, sorry for the backseat, if you could please give anything you want to offer to what we're doing right now. Like if you're good at typing, if you're good at organizing, we're doing this across the country. We're specifically targeting New York because I'm going to be doing a roundtable now with the New York State Assembly. But I want everybody to do this. I want every single state to take this down with me. Come on, we need to take this down. Let's make this next 2020, January 3rd, 2020, January 3rd, citizens arrest, actually arrest these system and arrest these judges. And then I don't know if I think he's trying to, yeah. I don't know if we can hear him. I don't know why I can't. Okay, I'm going to go on to somebody else, like maybe Sandra, if we can't. Don, there you are.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear you talk about Title 18?
Yeah, my video doesn't seem to be working right now.
There we go. We see you.
Let's see. Can you hear me now? No.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Awesome.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think you said you would want me to speak about U.S. Code Title 18, Section 242.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just going to read it. It's very easy to understand. It's like this is it right here. I think from the Department of Justice website. Okay, deprivation of rights under color of law. Now, this is the solution legally to this gigantic problem that we have in this country with the family court CPS racket. The problem, in essence, is that the judges and some of their accomplices in the racket violate people's rights. And every time they do, they're committing a felony. That's the problem. And here's the law, all right? The deprivation of rights under color of law. Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under color of any law to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under color of law include acts not only done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority. If the acts are done while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties. Persons acting under color of law within the meaning of this statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers in public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus toward the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The offense is punishable by a range of imprisonment up to a life term or the death penalty, depending upon the circumstances of the crime and the resulting injury, if any. That's it. That's the law. That's federal law. That law is being ignored. That law is being violated essentially every day in every county courthouse all over this country. And the people of the United States are suffering from their rights being violated in several different ways, primarily. And nothing is really being done about it. What typically happens is people will innately realize that they got a bad deal, and so their attorney may suggest to them that they appeal the decision of the lower court judge in the so-called family court. Well, that's an expensive process for one thing, and it always results in zero results. They always lose. The reason they lose is the judges over those judges protect the guilty judges, which in effect makes them accessories after the fact. That makes them guilty also. So where is the refuge for the people? It isn't with the judiciary, because the judiciary is crooked. And we were warned about that by Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry. They said that we will wind up living under judicial tyranny, and that has come to pass. So it's not with the judicial branch. There's no justice there. That's been proven probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times. And it really isn't with the legislative branch, although we should make sure that all legislators, all politicians, know about this horrendous criminal enterprise that's been inflicted upon us. And the reason is we don't need any new laws in this country to deal with this problem. I just read you the law that'll put these clowns in prison for the rest of their lives and maybe hang some of them, which would be good.
Mm-hmm.
But so we don't need any new laws. We don't need to tweak the system. We don't need to reform the system. The only form we need is a reform school for adults, which is federal prison for these judges and their accomplices. So where is the refuge for the people? It's with the third branch of government, the executive branch. And, precedent was set for that in the prior civil rights movement, which was led by Martin Luther King. It was the executive branch that helped those people. Dwight David Eisenhower called out the National Guard to help them. And then when his term was up, his 8 years were up in office, John Fitzgerald Kennedy became the president, and he sicked his Justice Department, his Attorney General, which was his brother, Robert Kennedy, and the FBI onto the crooks. So, and then whenever he was assassinated, Lyndon Baines Johnson did the same thing. So that's where the people can receive justice. Is that going to happen? Maybe yes, maybe no. It probably depends upon how much public pressure we put on Trump. William Barr, his Attorney General, and Christopher Wray, his Director of the FBI, are going to do what the president tells them to do. So obviously, he hasn't told them to vigorously indict and prosecute these judges for violating their rights. However, if we put enough pressure on him, I think it's axiomatic that he will. He could definitely use allies at this point. He's, he's been under attack by the Clintonites 24/7 ever since before he took office, and ever since. And right now, you get all the Democrats, working on this impeachment. He could use our help. He could use us having his back. And I remember the first time I had a conversation with Brian Kenter, he called me. This was a couple of years ago, and it was a long conversation. But in it, we discussed that Trump had just taken office. And so we were discussing the possibility of him helping the people, because in his inaugural speech, he said, "Never again will the American people be ignored." Really? When's that going to happen?
Right, we're still being ignored.
Yes, right. We're waiting and waiting and waiting. But Brian and I both discussed this. So we're never going to get the people in this movement to have his back unless we see him helping us, and we haven't seen that. Now, he's done a lot of things for the country.
No, we haven't seen that,
ma'am.
And we can't be all like, we become very deceived and disillusioned when people only want to protect meanwhile not noticing what's actually going on. And our children are not being protected, our families are not being protected, and I'm not against this president in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to see him off that seat because we have worse behind him, okay? But we need to force him to join what we're doing, because if he got rid of this, he wouldn't have all these other issues going on right now either, because he is up against the child trafficking industry. That is why they're fighting him, and people really need to understand that, okay? But obviously he's known about the family movement, and he's literally living it right now in this fake impeachment. It's being run exactly like the family courts are being run, no different, backwards, no due process. But Don, I mean, this is what it really comes down to, and I need everybody to keep sharing this right now. We should have thousands of views right now on this. This is what's going to solve it. But there's exactly what you just got done saying. We need the public pressure. We need the public pressure. We're getting the public pressure. But with social media, we could have millions of us right now ending. Don't you think this should have been over already? Isn't this an archaic system? Everybody's complaining, but what about doing? What about doing? And we need to prosecute not just the judges, because the judges need to go to jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They know what they're doing. There's no such thing as a good one, okay? They know what they're doing. But the CPS workers need to go to jail. The attorneys need to go to jail. They need to go to jail. And if you go to family court, you are an accomplice to child trafficking. If you're forced to go to family court because you're trying to protect your kids, I know you don't have a choice. But as for the rest of you that file motions in family court, you are an accomplice to child trafficking. And you are no better than Epstein. No better. It's not, maybe worse, because you're helping to harm more kids. What do you think of that, Don?
Well, there is no legitimate reason for them to not enforce the law. And there is every reason for them to enforce the law. In other words, that should be our motto: enforce the law, prosecute crooked judges. And the reason we should, focus on the judges is the judges are the kingpins of this racket. If you take out the judges, that whole racket falls apart. And so when they start indicting and prosecuting these judges and sending some of them to prison, that is when this racket will end. And I do not believe it's ever going to end until that happens. So, yeah, I mean, could you just imagine how helpful we could be? Imagine people from the family rights movement all over the country suddenly started attacking Nancy Pelosi and these other people.
Yep.
Nancy Pelosi would be sorry she ever opened her mouth.
Yeah.
They don't want a whole bunch of people attacking them and criticizing them. So that we could be very, very helpful to him. And if he put the family court racket out of business, he would literally be regarded in American history as one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, because this is such a gigantic problem. And so, in fact, right after he became president, he liked on Facebook something that I wrote, I titled Travesty and Abomination. It described the racket and told of the great social carnage that had been inflicted upon the American people by it, and told the legal solution to the problem, which I read a little while ago, and told how he could easily implement that solution, and that if he did, he would be regarded by history as one of America's greatest presidents. And he liked that. So you're right. He knows about it. He knew about it from day one. And he had, from his taking office, he received boxes and boxes and boxes of correspondence from people from all over this country. These are just people I know of. No telling how much mail he received, all told. So, yeah, he knows about it. He's essentially doing nothing about it that we can see. I mean, he might be making a couple of baby steps, one here or there, but it's very simple. He could have a probably 20-minute meeting in the Oval Office with William Barr, his Attorney General, and Christopher Wray, his director of the FBI, and say, guys, I've received all this mail and have been received ever since I took office. People complaining all over this country about the rights being violated in these lower courts, by these so-called judges in these family courts. Every time they're doing that, they're committing crimes against our fellow Americans. We're going to put a stop to this now. I want you to start indicting and prosecuting these
It has to
charges.
be done now. It has to be done
Yeah.
now.
Okay,
It cannot wait another day, another week. It cannot. So listen, the one thing that Assemblyman Jaffe asked me, and I answered it, because I answered it on the whole entire 15 minutes I had there. The one thing she asked me was, what do I see with the traumas to the children or whatever? Listen, do you really want me to tell you what I see? Do you really want me to tell you what I see? It'll burn a hole in your heart and your mind that you'll never be able to get away from. Do you really want me to tell you what I see? First of all, the unseen scars that you'll never see on these children and adults that you'll never see. They're not actual scars, they're unseen, right? Just by ripping families apart inside our borders, not outside our borders, inside our borders. Our children in our borders, inside our borders. You understand what I'm saying? You want to protect our borders, protect inside our borders, okay? Because the real terrorists are the family court judges. They're the real domestic terrorists. Andrew Cuomo, one of the biggest American terrorists we have right now is Andrew Cuomo, okay? Don't you think he's in office? I live in New York. I don't meet people that like him. So where are these people that voted him in? Okay, I come from New York City. I'm born in Brooklyn. I live in upstate New York, and I'm all over the state. I don't meet people that like Andrew Cuomo. So who voted for him? Think about this for a minute. I live here my whole entire life. Okay? When you contact them, they tell you they have no jurisdiction. When you contact them, it says they can put them in. But they usurp our authority in the first place. So they need to get out. They need to get out. And what Andrew Cuomo will do is if you have a problem, he'll tell you to call CPS. What a joke. What a joke. The whole entire system needs to come down. So you want to talk about the abuse that I see on children? The second they're ripped from their families, they're destroyed. They're destroyed for life, okay? If that's not enough, once they get out of the hands of the protective, loving family members, they are harmed. Many times sexually abused, physically abused, and definitely emotionally abused every single second of the day. These children have to put themselves into, so do the adults, into fight and flight in order to guard themselves so they can function every day, barely functioning every day. They have to pretend that they don't feel. They have to pretend that they don't miss their families, okay? Or they get put on psychotropic drugs. Are you kidding me? Why are we allowing this? This is the reason that we need to do something together right now, like we've never done it before, by January 3rd, which is days away, so that we can take this down. We can do this. And the only way we're going to do this is if we unite to fight and force them to put them in jail, just like you just got done saying, Title 18, Section 242. And if you read it, Facebook will take it down if I post it. Facebook will take it down. But it's our laws, and it's never changed. It actually says to hang them, okay? We're not asking for them to be hung. We're asking for them to go in prison. And they're trying to, state of New York, Como, wants to clear out the prisons with real criminals. Well, good. Why don't you do that? So we can put these child trafficking judges, fake attorneys, bar members, child attorneys, fake child attorneys that don't care about kids, okay, and guardian ad litem and case workers, CPS workers in the places that you're clearing out. And you know what? I'd like to check and see how many of those criminals are really criminals in the first place, because real criminals don't get arrested in jail. Only the innocent do. So I might have a little bit of belief in that system right there. And starting with number one, starting with Andrew Cuomo, let's get him off that bed. I bet you wish you had me in office at this point. So, I mean, I did run as a write-in, so it's kind of sad because this state would have never been in the state that it's in right now if I was governor. I'll tell you that much. And there's not one single person that ran that had anything short of an agenda. Okay, some of them had a really horrific agenda, and others had an agenda. Okay, and part of their agenda is to separate women and men and attack each other, mothers and fathers attacking one another. That's part of the agenda. Okay, but if you go back in history and you look, mothers have had children ripped away for eons. Okay, eons. So it's not something that we have a gender war about. Okay, we should be protecting one another. And whatever happened to protect mothers and children first? Remember, when the ship is going down, only some hurt mothers and children, innocent mothers and children, not real men. Real men protect women and children. Okay, so we need to stand strong with one another and protect one another and fight like we've never fought before. And let's bring in 2020 with clear vision, 2020 with clear vision, so we can see clearly what's really going on and we can stop this system. It should have never been running all these years. They need to be held accountable. If you want a real justice system, if you want a real court, a real justice system, the police do their bidding when they shouldn't. That's why they have a bad reputation, the police, because they do their bidding when they shouldn't. There's good officers out there who's supposed to serve and protect. That's their job, to serve and protect. We are their bosses. Never forget it. We are their bosses. We are their bosses. They work for us. That means we have authority over them. They're usurping our authority. They put you in a place that you're beneath them, like there's something like that you're beneath them. We've never been beneath them, okay? And we go in, yes, Your Honor, yes, sir, yes, no, 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 no. No, it's not supposed to be like that. So let's rise up like we never have before. Let's take this system down. And by January 3rd, let's do a national citizen's arrest. I want to tell you about this one so-called attorney that I have a client, and they were going to put this poor man in jail. And he's got his children 7 days a week, and he's paying money like you can't imagine in child support. And he has a kid 7 days a week, okay? And I see what they do. They take people who are disabled and they take their money from disability. That is so freaking sick. There's no other word for that. But this man, I saved him now 3 times from going to jail. Judge Savona, he started out with Andy Gilday, who never called him back. I told him to file grievances against that one and get sanctions against that lunatic, because he's a car-chasing loser, public defender, pretender. I said, go after him. As soon as he found out I was advocating for him, he jumped ship. Then he got another attorney who ignored him too. And then another attorney named, oh gosh, what the hell was his name? Some other idiot, Jeremy Dykman. He goes, don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Don't listen to that quack. Meanwhile, he would refuse to listen to what I had to say. So how do you make an educated decision if you didn't listen to me and you're calling me a quack? And the reason why they do that, they're going to call you a quack, is because they cannot articulate an intelligent sentence and have an intelligent argument with you, because they're guilty, okay? They're guilty of trafficking your children. They're guilty of trafficking your families and robbing you blind. So keep going to public schools, keep being deceived, keep living your life doing what they say, because they say so. Think about that for a minute. Be your own person. Think with the brain God gave you. Listen, learn, and figure things out. Don't just let people tell you what to do so that you can be deceived, so that everything you've ever worked for, everything you've ever had is robbed from you. That's not the American dream. That's the American nightmare. So I hope that I'm going to have lots of people come help me. If you have a story to tell, take it live so I can come to your houses if I have to and get your stories, okay, in the state of New York or anywhere. Please, help us right now so we can get this done as quick as possible, so we can save these families, save us, save our nation, save the state of New York. I love my state. It's a beautiful state. New York is a beautiful state. We have beautiful mountains. We have the Hudson River. We have great shopping, the best restaurants probably in the world, okay? And it's being destroyed by Governor Cuomo and these psychopaths, these evil people. It's being destroyed right out from under you. Even if you don't understand that vaccines are bad, even if you don't understand that, I'll have you read that, Jody. Even if you don't understand that, if someone's going to force 72 vaccinations into your children, just think about that. How many times has the Food and Drug Administration, how many times have they recalled medications? How many times, when you get your medications, just think of medications, not let alone vaccines, okay? When you get your medications, right, do you see the laundry list of things that can happen to you that are horrible, far worse than probably the disease itself? How come vaccines don't come with that warning? Think about it. Where's the intelligence in that? Does anybody else want to speak besides me? Because I'm like hot and angry right now. Anybody else want to speak?
Do you want me to?
Jody, go ahead, unmute yourself.
All right, so I just wanted guys to let you know, okay, this is my case number at the top. I don't know if you can see that. I apologize. Okay. Well, anyways, so I put this affidavit into the court and they ignored it blatantly. And that's where I need help right now, getting my rights to be asserted, because this is ridiculous. Okay. This affidavit is one out of felonies in court with my brother Tony alone, and my sister Jen, she modified it to go accordance to what my case was about. So I'm just going to read it real quick. It's the 12 presumptions of law. This is my testimony. I told my lawyer to enter this into evidence, and he told me it would not hold up. I, Jody Lynn Gracer, aged in my correct public capacity as beneficiary to the original jurisdiction, being a majority age, competent to testify, a self-realized and free sentiment man upon the land, my yes be yes, my no be no, do affirm and attest under penalty of perjury and under my full commercial liability that the truths and facts herein are of firsthand personal knowledge, and they are true, correct, complete, not just true and correct, certain and not misleading, to the best of my abilities and integrity. I am constitutionally in accordance with one constitution, capable of telling the truth. Jody Lynn Gracier has basic knowledge of copyright laws. Please be advised that all cites thereto and excerpts therefrom are utilized, employed herein merely for educational and communicational purposes. To display from where Jody Lynn Gracier present, understand, here is from, and due to the depth of the matter that which this controversy attempts to cover. This disclaimer shall be in effect for the entirety of these proceedings. Jody Lynn Gracier is claimed to be a persona propria sui juris litigant claimant. Allegations such as those asserted by claimants, however, inartfully decreed, are sufficient, which we hold to less stringent standards from formal pleadings drafted by lawyers Haynes versus Kerner, 404 U.S. 519 reversed and amp remanded, and Woods versus Carey, 525 F3D 886-889-890. Or I'm sorry, 890/890 reverse amped and remanded, and claims pro per in his own person a rule in pleading that pleas to this jurisdiction of the court must be pleaded in propria persona. C. K versus Erler, 499 U.S. 432, and quote, the requirement of standing, however, has a core component derived directly from the Constitution. A plaintiff must allege personal injury fairly traceable to defendant's allegedly unlawful conduct and likely be redressed by the requested relief, and quote, Allen versus Wright, 468 U.S. 737, 1984. If at any time in the past, Jody Lynn Gracier advertently waived her rights, surrendered her rights, and in any way lessened her status through contract, it would be a nullity, as such would have been done without full disclosure, clean hands, good faith, and fair business practices. Therefore, it would be unconscionable. Let's be clear, no man or woman would knowingly sign away their rights, express reservation of rights. The testimony is to be entered into evidence at the earliest time and placed by any and every clerk, magistrate, referee, administrator, justice of the peace, judge, or any such title. Jody Lynn Gracier hereby expressly reserves all rights under New York and international law, specifically the Uniform Commercial Code 1-308, as well as international treaties and other common law and superior court decisions. This is a self-executing contract. Notice to the principal is notice to the agent. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal. You are hereby bound to inform all of your superiors and subordinates involved in this matter, in which may have future interactions with me or my person. If there is some you do not understand clearly, it is incumbent upon you to summon a superior officer, special prosecutor, federal judge, or other competent legal counsel to immediately explain the significance of this instrument as per your duties and obligations in respect to this private formal instrument. You have 3 days from receipt of this notice to respond on a point-by-point basis via sworn affidavit under full commercial liability, signing under penalty of perjury that the facts contained therein are true, correct, complete, and not misleading. Mere declarations are insufficient response and a complete nullity. If an extension of time is needed to properly answer, please request such in writing. Traitors, protestants, liberals, and heretics, take heed, for I oppose your cause, for I am a dignitary to assist the injured off the battlefield. I am a non-combatant and a man of peace. I am one of the protected people, and all agents of government are hereby assigned the title of judiciary to me. As such, it is to your and their duty to protect me as a high priority. I am a woman of goodwill. I do not consent to these proceedings. Your offers are not accepted. I do not consent to be in surety for this case and these proceedings. I demand the bond be immediately brought forward so I can see who will indemnify me if I am injured. I personally believe the biggest problem, the chain of corruption by government, is not the DA, district attorney, or a police officer who disobeys their oath of office and employment contracts, but the judge who does not obey their oath of office and employment contract. Jurisdiction may be challenged at any time on it. For the record, on the face of the court record, I hereby challenge personal jurisdiction, subject jurisdiction, and subject matter jurisdiction. I demand the state provide me evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, subscribed and sworn on their unlimited commercial liability under penalty of perjury, that there is a contract or other commercial agreement with which they may compel me to specific performances. I hereby demand proof of a copy of the contract or other commercial agreement for which the state of New York or the county of Erie, New York, are a holder in due course, in which I agree to abide by rules of the state of New York or the county of Erie, New York. If the county of Erie or the state of New York cannot provide me such, I demand the case against my person be dismissed with prejudice and my chattel property, son Landon Hart Fuller, be returned immediately. Emphasizes added. A formulaic recitation of the elements of a cause of action will not do. I reserve my unlimited right to contract as existed long antecedent to the formation of government as a natural right which is protected from encroachment by any government official under state and federal constitution, specifically protected in Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. Since public officials are required to swear on an oath to uphold the Constitution as per Article 6, Clause 3, for these same officials to ignore the Court 39 proceedings is equal to a violation of that oath in accordance with Article 4, Section 2, even though education is responsibility of the state government. That responsibility must be carried out in a manner consistent with the requirements of the Constitution, particularly the 14th Amendment, which provides equal protection under the law. I reserve my right to carry on my own private business in my own way. My power to contract is unlimited. I owe no duty to the state to divulge my business or to open my doors to an investigation, so far as such may tend to incriminate myself. I owe no such duty to the state since I receive nothing there and from beyond this protection of my life and property. My rights are such as existed by the law of the land long antecedent to the organization of the state and can only be taken away by me by due process of law, not statute, in accordance with the Constitution. I have not been provided a true and correct copy of a bona fide warrant for an alleged crime. I have not been provided a true and correct copy of a bona fide affidavit in support of such claims. It is my contention that without such a warrant and affidavit, your claims are fraudulent. On and for the record, this matter is to be on the public record while the matter remains a private bar gold matter. I demand an audio and video recording of the proceeding to ensure that all government officials defined as officers, agents, representatives, and actors adhere defined as representing truthfully and in detail to their public oath of office. Despite these government officials having sworn a solemn, secret, absolute oath to their guild known as the American Bar Association, I demand for these proceedings that the government officials involved in these proceedings support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the Constitution and government of the state of New York against all enemies, whether domestic or foreign, and that they will bear true faith, allegiance, and loyalty to the same and an ordinance, resolution, or law of any state notwithstanding, and that they will well and faithfully perform all the duties of their office. In recognition of your service to the community, I hereby accept your oath of office, making each oath a contract. I bind you to your oath of office, making an oath lawfully bilateral binding contract. I offer you my honor and accept yours in the dealing this consideration of contract. I remind you of your fiduciary obligation. Notice of required performance of contract. I extend my sovereign immunity while you carry out my orders. Indemnity of the person while taking the action. I demand that any government official who is unwilling to adhere to their public oath of office to serve honestly, impartially, and fairly as dictated by their public oath must recuse themselves as having a conflict of interest and cannot possibly stand under a public oath. Anything less shall be seen as a government agent waging war against the Constitution as well as me and my person. Any claim of immunity which the government agency or agents could possibly make as a fraud, because if valid, it would prevent removal from office for crimes against the people, which removal is authorized or even mandated under the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, as well as 18 U.S.C. 241, 42 U.S.C. 1983, 1985, 1986, and other state constitutions. I hereby reject and return your summons and or warrant as a notice of dishonor. I am both a general guardian and general executor of the matter trust before the court. Any presumptions that I am by default a pauper lunatic and therefore must obey the rules of the clerk of guardians, clerk of magistrates, court is hereby void. I am here today by special appearance and refuse to accept the office of trustee as a public servant and government employee. I am merely visiting by invitation to clear up the matter, and you are not a government employee or a public trustee in this instance. I am the clearly established and expressly designated beneficiary of the Constitution. The public oath of office binds all government officials in a fiduciary obligation to me, the natural person, and my person. The New York Corporation, I am both the general guardian and general executor of the matter trust before the court. I hereby assert my right as general executor beneficiary of Landon Hart Fuller. Therefore, I contend that the judge magistrate may not assume the role of true executor and has no right and no authority to have me arrested, detained, fined, or forced into a psychiatric evaluation. I am knowledgeable of the law. I am knowledgeable of the contract. Therefore, I am competent to represent myself and my person properly as a member of the community. I know my position as executor and beneficiary and actively rebuke and object to any contrary presumptions. My appearance in this courtroom was coerced, intimidated, and threatened with false imprisonment, involuntary servitude, peonage, and probable warehousing if I should choose not to attend. Because the state has failed to prove I am an enemy combatant, the actions being brought against me or my person amount to an act of war against one of the people. Void where prohibited by law. Further, affiant saith not Jody Lynn Gracer, authorized agent of Jody Lynn Gracer. So basically, the natural person, and then the corporation, which they make out to be, and then my address. And then at the time, I didn't know this, but you're not really supposed to do a notary because it gets you back in their jurisdiction. That's where your red thumbprint comes in. And that's where it shows here over my name, my last name of my signature of the actual natural man. And then in cursive writing. So anyways, and I sent that 3 times, and it didn't matter if I wasn't 100% perfect in this affidavit, because the void where prohibited by law, from what I understand with my brother Tony, you can say anything in paperwork and they can't prosecute you if you say void where prohibited by law. I sent this 3 times, and the way that their rules are is if you send this 3 times, okay, the first time I gave them 3 days to respond, they didn't. I then give them another 3 days, send it again, 3 days to respond, they didn't. Send it again, another 3 days to respond. They didn't respond. That's supposed to void this completely. Then I sat there and sent them this one on the 12/23, and I sent Sharon M. Lavallo. I put her in the corporation at the top because she's acting as a corporation. She's not the natural man. And I'm calling her out. And I said, I demand my biological chattel property, Landon Hart Fuller, back in my physical custody immediately. You have 24 hours to return my property upon receipt of this affidavit, void where prohibited by law. And they ignored that also. They sent all these return receipts back to me, and they didn't do what I told them to do. Then on Christmas Eve, I let them know in an email, which I emailed you and CC Francesca to back me up, that I was coming to take my son away, that I had rights to do that with this affidavit in place. And nothing happened. Then on Christmas Day, I went there. I tried to assert my rights to the home in Connors and Buffalo. And they told me that I was not allowed to do that, that the county is the one who has to release the rights, or I mean, the permission of them to give me back my son, that there's nobody there on Christmas Day to authorize this, basically. I said, well, you just know that, by the way, because you're not allowing me to take my son when I have rights to do this, you may be facing, what did I say? Something charges. I can't remember what it was. Aiding and abetting charges of this kidnapping, because my son was kidnapped. I didn't give him permission to give them to you, to this place. And they said, okay. And then the other day, my mom called, Sierra, my son's caseworker, called my mom, Sierra, and said to my mom, oh, well, just so you know, Jody, when she came in there, she wasn't allowed to do that. So we were going to give you unsupervised visitations. But now, because she did that, we're now looking into her mental health further, because that's just not okay. And she also told this kid that she was talking to that she was planning on kidnapping him out of there. And I didn't say that. And, you know, and I wanted you also.
They twist your words. They always twist your words. They always twist
I
your
know.
words
I know. And that's another email I need you to write back and reply to, because she wouldn't let me even talk to my son the other night. He sat there and told me, I tried to call you. I told them to let me call you, and they just got mad and said I was.
So hold on a minute, my internet.
So you guys use this.
Hold on a second. I see Connie with her hand up. Thank you so much for that, Jody. Thank you.
Use this, guys. Okay, I'll get you the information.
Okay. So yeah, you guys, if you want a copy of that, you can get a copy of that. And I want to talk about that for a minute when you talk about the mental health. First of all, they're violating ADA rights automatically. They're causing injury. They're causing injury. And the Department of Justice needs to be held accountable for that too. Because the Department of Justice is supposed to protect our ADA rights, American disability. Okay, now listen carefully. Listen carefully. Most people have no emotional or mental issues until they walk into a family court. And it causes this injury, and then it compounds the injury by bringing you back there and threatening your children and your livelihood. Then they use mental health against you. They have no right to do any of it, especially when they are the ones that have serious mental health issues, or they wouldn't be doing this job. Normal people don't do this. Mentally sane people don't harm children and families. That's what they're doing. And that's what needs to be dealt with immediately. That's part of the crimes against families. Okay? Now, here's something to do with ADA. We need to go after the Department of Justice because they're not only violating our ADA rights, all people, and that's everybody, because they're causing this stress and trauma and so on and so forth to the children, to the adults, to the parents, and so on and so forth. They're not only causing it, but they're ignoring it. They're ignoring it. You know that the Department of Justice will say that they don't have enough of a they don't have enough funding to help the ADA families that are calling the Department of Justice and writing up complaints to the Department of Justice. They'll tell you that they don't have enough funding to do this. Do you actually believe that's true? We know that that's not true. We know that that's not true. So they also need to be gone after. And here's the problem: we have all these organizations that self babysit themselves. You know what I'm saying? Department of Justice, FBI, all this nonsense that doesn't hold nothing's held accountable. And the family court is completely a fraud. There's not one thing about it that's not a fraud. Okay, complete and utter treason on American soil. All right, I don't know who wanted to talk. I see here though it says, oh, ADA and the Justice causing stress and they're ignoring because they don't have enough funding. Oh, you're just repeating what I said. Now I have hold on, it says New York City ACS RICO ring conspiring with New York family courts to steal children using federal dollars. And also, where is the name of the person from ACS? There's several of them. Oh, here we go. New York ACS Commissioner Hansel, Hansel. Okay, he's using New York family courts with fraud and deceit to steal American children. Then he tweets about it. He tweets the children to sell them into adoption. That's another disgusting thing that I see. How do you like these ads? This child is good at sports. He loves the violin. Have you guys seen these sick things? They're selling children, making ads, public ads. But if you put your children's Christmas picture up, you could go to jail. Think about that. If you give your children a Christmas present and they're protecting the protective parent from that child, you could go to jail. But they could sell your children on Facebook and Twitter. Am I not pissed off enough yet? Is anybody pissed off enough? Because I am. In other words, they gag order families, which is also a violation of First Amendment rights. You can't do that. Anybody, even the biggest idiot attorney, can fight that in court and win. A gag order is illegal in every single state, okay? But then these some that tell you that you're coercing your children, that you're, they make up all these lies, that you're, what's the word that they use all the time? You're coaching your kids, okay? You're alienating your children when you're protecting them, but they can alienate the protective parent from the children, that's okay. Like nothing they do makes sense because they're abusers, they're bullies, they're full-blown bullies, okay? So what they do is they adopting out children, so they're making ads for kids, like they're some inanimate object. And they'll say things like, little Johnny is good at sports, and little John and little Sally is good at the violin, and they'll put their pictures up. That's okay. That's okay. That's not harming these kids. Putting children up for on the market, basically. That's okay. But if a parent does it, if a mother or father that loves them and protects them does it, puts up a Christmas picture of them having a nice Christmas because they finally got to see their kids, they could go to jail for that. Okay? Tell me, let's talk backwards. Anybody want to talk backwards? The more they violate your rights, the more rights they're going to violate.
Fran, can I say something, please?
Okay.
I wanted to
Go
say
ahead.
I wanted to say something that would add to what you just said. See, a lot of people don't understand that these agencies, social workers, and these attorneys, they have no governmental power. They say, I asked the guardian ad litem, the attorney, we don't work for the state. We don't work for the state. And the social worker says, oh, we don't work for the state. Why do they say that? Because they're not government, first of all. Second of all, they have Dun and Bradstreet numbers, 9-digit Dun and Bradstreet numbers. Even Walmart across the street has a Dun and Bradstreet number. Wendy's has a Dun and Bradstreet number. Any restaurant in any type of business, a bank has a Dun and Bradstreet number, which they're operating as a bank because they have 9-digit Dun and Bradstreet number. Because Phoenix Children's Hospital has a 9-digit Dun and Bradstreet number, and Thunderbird Hospital has a Dun and Bradstreet number. And they're not government. They're not government officials. They're not government officials. They have no right or power or say to strip children away. To begin with, they are using the 1935 Act, the Social Security Act, to turn people into revenue, and the 1997 Safe Families and Adoption Act that garnishes $4,000 to $7,000 a month per child, which is like $89,000 per child per year. They are making a killing, friend. And what people don't understand is they're not even government officials.
This is what they're doing.
You ask them, do you work for the state? I asked the guardian ad litem, Brian Strickman, you work for the state? No, I don't work for the state. Well, Mr. Strickman, then it seems we have a problem. You don't work for the state. Social workers don't work for the state. So what does that mean? That means you have your own Dun and Bradstreet number. You're operating as a business. You're taking our children for state-sponsored kidnapping on taxpayers' dime, stealing children, and you're not even a government official, okay?
Yeah, on top
You're
of
a private business.
well,
And that's what I have to say about that. And I'm addressing them too as a private business. I'm not going to go into it or read it because but I've got all their Dun and Bradstreet numbers. I am addressing them as a business. They are they have abducted my son to obtain Title 40 and 4D funding. My son's screaming and crying out. I have done that. My mom has done nothing to abuse nor neglected me in any way. So why is it again? Are you saying that I attempted to murder my son? Okay, state of Arizona. You workers that are claiming to be of the state.
Let me just say something. Hold on a minute, Arlena. Hold on. Two things that I don't want to forget. Number one, if you didn't see the New York State Assembly, please look on the page. Also sign the petition. Look for that. Please watch that and watch the congressional briefing we did privately in September. Please watch those. Get informed. Anybody that's willing to help with what we're doing right now, get a hold of us, please. And everyone, and so we can all start pushing this forward, okay? Arlena can help you with the remonstrance process, and we can all move forward. Anybody that has any political connection to Trump or anybody high up, get with us and let's do this. What are we waiting for? What are you holding on to? Let's do it together. If you actually have access, then let's get access together. Let's do this fiercely and in large quantities. Okay, I'm gonna start wrapping this up right now. I thank everybody who's joined. It's time to go to work now. It's time to go to work. Don't say you're going to go to work and don't do it. And if anybody left in this group that wants to speak, anybody, before I shut this down, this will also premiere off YouTube. Punish 4, the number 4 in YouTube. Susan Cobb wants people to get a hold of her too.
I would like to speak.
We have groups that we have started. Rochelle, I see you on. We have groups that we have started that we're working behind the scenes. We have other things that are going on to get them down. I want them arrested and behind bars. I want the system abolished. And don't give me, what are we going to use in place for all the children that are being abused? They're being abused through a system. They're being abused through a system. They're being abused through a system. Okay? All of this will go away or go way down if the system goes away. Wake up. Okay? It's a non-necessary system. They've been stealing, abducting, child trafficking, children and elderly for decades, okay? They're not being abused mostly by the system. fathers. And in the rare cases that happens, let's file criminal charges. Get rid of these people, put them behind bars. Enough
Okay,
of this.
hang on a second. I have a quick question. This is Tani. Can I say something, friend?
Show. Yes, please.
Okay, there's several things that
Okay,
are going
yes,
on here
chat.
that we have to really take into account. First of all, we need to bring our emotions to a halt. Second of all,
Well, no, I've been doing this for 12 years. My emotions are still in check, believe me. This is very emotional because we have children that are being repeatedly raped and abused. So I think it's time we start to actually show people to get some emotions involved in this. So that's my opinion. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm talking about mine. Okay, so when I was going through the same situation of my niece being yanked out and my daughter was being beat up in a car, yanked out, one of the things that I had to remember when I was fighting is not to fight with my emotions. When we fight, so the courts are made of commerce. It's all about commerce today. We recognize that, right? So since it's about commerce, when we go in, all they want, they're like pirates. When you go across that first bar, what is that? It's a ship. You're coming on a ship. If you're coming in as a person and you're coming in and you bring a lawyer in, you have the lawyer is from the bar, the judge is from the bar, the prosecutor from the bar. So all they want is your booty. And I mean that in a way of money, your gold, everything, your persons, who you are, your children, your life, everything you have. When you're fighting these people and you're coming over that bar, we don't need to come in, first of all, just swinging the sword. We need to come in with some strategic methods. The strategic method in coming into commerce is doing all the things you're doing, but also we're recognizing that we're people and they're saying, okay, no, your company. I don't know if you know that Walmart actually pays for those courts. I got that from a lawyer.
I did not know that Walmart. Walmart pays for those courts.
Let me give you some more information from the lawyer. I talked to one yesterday and wrote in, I put it, pasted on one of the groups, and the lawyer said, I said, where's your license? I didn't know you had license. He said, I've never been asked that before. We don't have license. We just get a bar card. They're not licensed. They're not government. Of course, like the young lady was saying, when you attack something, these people are coming from the queen. They are not, the bar is from the queen. It's not something we've established.
Right. We understand about the British, we know all about the British fake bar system that doesn't belong on American soil, that's also treason. We understand that very well, and I agree with you. We know that. That's why we're going after them and calling it treason. That is what it is. There's no such thing as a licensed attorney. We know that very well. We know that
correct.
Fooled and lied to and are bullied and manipulated and intimidated. But I'm going to say one thing. I do want to make one thing clear, and I agree with you. I did not know about Walmart. My emotions are exactly where they're going to be. I am pissed off. I am angry. I've done this for 12 years. I see child after child completely destroyed in our country. Our kids don't even have identity anymore. They're rebellious because of what's happened. They're on drugs because of what's happened. They're forced into psychophobics because of what's happened, and we're not going to tolerate it anymore. And I am beyond angry. It's a righteous anger, and I am not standing this anymore. We are in a war for our children and our families, and so I am beyond the work that I've been doing, and I want to rev up everybody else to get a little emotion under them, so that they can start not just sitting back and typing something behind a keyboard, but actually doing something about it. So this is why I'm doing this live today. So, okay, does anybody else have something else before we close it? Rochelle? Was that you? Okay, I thought so. I thought you wanted to.
That's been taken by CPS, but they state that my kids are home and they've tried to pay me when they had me in jail. But my main goal here is to try to find out how we can organize and get the results we need and make it like a textbook. You know, you do these 10 steps and that should get you relief, remedy expeditiously. Because I follow suit, I won in court, I beat the U.S. Attorney of the United States of America, but still my property, my children, my babies are not here. So it doesn't matter if you win in court, but you know, you need them to compel them to get your children front and center. And then the assembly and the governor and the mayor and all those people should kind of do their job because they're placed to oversee. The assembly man can oversee the DA when they're corrupt. But he didn't want to work. He promised me in video when I went there after my brain surgery to see him. He didn't assist me with that. You know, they'll lie, and that's fine. So we need to just try to find the most efficient and expeditious way to get to them and get them to keep their oath, because they're going to lie. So we have to have videotape in place. We need to have backup people to back up the people that are on the forefront. You know, you're speaking, friend, but you're going to need about 10 other backups. So everybody needs to learn to speak the same thing. The Bible states that you can be angry, but do not sin. You know, Bible is custom and custom is law. So we have to hit them on their own rules of engagements. They're not going to respect you until you beat them. And even when you beat them, because I have, they still didn't put no respect on my name. So they still have my daughter's faith and hope. In Oklahoma now, I beat the state of New York up, and then they sent my kids to Oklahoma.
You know what else I can say about the Bible? If you remember Jesus, when he tables and he whipped everybody, he was angry and sinned not. I agree with you 100%. So God's done some amazing things, and your children, I can't even believe that you're still going through this. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Every single day, millions of children, missing kids, missing children, okay? Named children renamed, children renamed, okay? They repackage and rehouse your kids as like they're regifting gifts, okay? This is sick. And if you're not
Hello?
and I'm not pissed off, be a fake like they are, okay? I'm not going to do it. We need to rise up like a pissed off, fierce nation and stop this. Children are being trafficked, you understand? It's not time to coddle and be kind, okay? It's not time. If the house is on fire, you don't go, oh my, let's see how we can talk about this. No, you do everything you can to save whoever's in it, okay? So stop playing games, and I'm not going to listen to some stupidity, and I'm not saying that to you, Rochelle. I respect you highly, and you have done some massive work, okay? I'm just saying, out there in general, don't tell me how to talk, okay? Don't tell me how to talk, because I'm doing a damn good job straightening this shit out, okay? And telling them to stop fucking playing word salad, okay? And stop twisting people's words so you can steal children, traffic them, okay? We got missing kids, do you understand? We got people that got their thumb up their ass and their blindfolds on. Okay, so I'll just get more angry and hopefully get more attention to this video so that people start doing something about it. Because if you think it can't be your kids, it already is. Don't be stupid. All right, wake the hell up. We have a country out here right now, America, land of the free. Are you kidding me? This is worse than communist China. Worse. And New York City is destroying itself from within right now. California, are you kidding? What did our veterans die for? All right? What's going on in this country? Stop playing with these people. It's time that they're arrested and the system is abolished. I can't wait for the round table because they're not going to play one single game with me. It's going to be said what needs to be said. When we've got children in danger in mass numbers, families ripped apart, and everything you ever worked for, stolen. There's your kids' college funds. You got them? Or did they steal them? You want to send your kids to college? You think you're going to be able to send your kids to college? You think? Do you think that's going to happen? Wait, where are the kids? Where are they? You want me to talk nice about this? No! I'm trying to wake you up. You can't, they don't hear. The alarm's been going off for years. You think a silent alarm, a nice song is going to wake them up? No, somebody yelling is going to wake them up. To wake up. This is serious, and it's been serious. Every person in this call and every person watching has been victimized, and the children have been victimized. This is wrong, and it needs to stop. And we need to come together. Don't correct people. Do action. Okay, I'm sorry. That's the point I'm at right now. I have seen it for over 12 years. People have seen it for 20. People have seen it for 50. I have literally seen it. I'm inside the people's houses. I'm talking to the families. I sit with their siblings crying for their brothers or sisters. I sit with them. I talk to them. I had a little girl tell me that her father stuck a knife up her you-know-what the other day. It wasn't a knife, though. That's what it felt like. So you tell me not to be angry? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? And you tell me to present it in a certain package? I'm not presenting a pretty package. I'm trying to be careful because it's public, okay? There's children being right now. But I'll tell you something right now. These children are being abused. Their emotions are being, everything about them is being abused. And God got angry, okay? His wrath was fierce at times. And that is also considered love. And it comes a time in our lives that we have to rise up much stronger than what we are right now. Okay, when we spend everything we have, every sacrifice we can possibly make for the advocates to show up in who we see and don't get support from other people, when we give up our jobs for you so we can save your families as well as our own, it comes time that we need to talk louder, maybe, because maybe you're not hearing us. Maybe all the children that have tape across their mouths and mothers and fathers that can't have to pay to see their kids, imagine that in a free country, okay? Because someone maybe isn't listening. Maybe their voices have been silenced, so I'm speaking louder so you can hear me. I'm sorry if I have some emotion behind it. Maybe I should be a dead person, a corpse, like they want me to. But I'm not a corpse. I'm a living, breathing person that sees it every day from really good families. Really good families.
My
and this is what I
advocate.
see every single day. Their
Can I
lives
say
are
a word?
destroyed thanks to what's happening. And we cannot sit back anymore and do this anymore. Okay,
That's
and
right.
I am a very strong advocate. Thank you.
That's right. Fran, you hear me?
Anybody else want to sing before we say anything before we wrap this up? Because I really do wrap it.
Hello, Fran, you hear me?
So what's next?
I hear you. Go for it.
Fran, I'm not speaking on behalf of Tani. This is Ronald. Greetings, everyone. I'm not speaking on behalf of Tani, but I do know Tani very well. And I think, I'm just thinking you may have missed the mark of what she was saying. I'm a very emotional individual. And I'll just give you a quick example. When I was writing and speaking what I was supposed to say in that fake court, that family court, I presumed that it was supposed to go one way, but the magistrate acted like he's not going to acknowledge to show proof of jurisdiction and just walk over me. So I got emotional, right? And I fell out of script. I fell out of script, and I let his order turn into a fake judgment. Now, what I learned from Sister Tani, and I'm not saying this is you. I love your passion.
No, nothing against Connie. I just want to make it clear about people's emotions, because their emotions have been shut down for so long.
I'm not
you were violated twice in the court because you had emotions in the court. And this is part of the problem, Ronald. This is part of it. What I'm trying to say is this. I understand exactly. What I'm trying to say is this. They use emotions against you too, but they're sitting there stabbing you repeatedly, telling you can't say ouch. That's a violation. That's a violation. And
listen, it's going to take.
This is abuse.
It's going to take.
Abuse. And that's all I'm trying to make clear here is that this is abuse.
Listen, it's going to take your attitude. It's going to take my attitude. It's going to take people like Sister Tani, her temperament, Rochelle, her penmanship, all of us. I love it. Let's put it all together. You know, and
let's kick ass, and I'm ready to do it now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wrap it. We're gonna seal this up right now. We're done with this live. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate Connie. I appreciate all of you.
Yes.
It's not about that, believe me. Let's wrap it now. Let's get ready to work, everybody. Let's see what everybody can put to the table. Let's get this work done. And you know, sadly, if we have to get more attention, we have to start talking about what's actually happening to these children. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's who's suffering.
Millions of people to rise up and put a stop to the system. It should have been abolished by now. And people and families deserve all kinds of recompense on top of it. Not just to abolish, not just to arrest. Recompense needs to come too. There is trillions of dollars in America being held back from families that deserve it, that was stolen from them, and it all needs to come back. And I can't wait to see these judges go down. That's what I want to see. I want to see them go down. All right, I got the Constitution Party saying a lot right now. Let me just see what they said. Let me just read this real quick. Hang on.
Dr. Marcus.
I want to read this to you real quick. They're watching, they were listening from the beginning. They wanted to say something. They're on our side. Oh, there's a phone number to call them in. The problem is I can't call them while we're on here. Shoot. Hang on, let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, Ronald, can I have you call them and just have them hear, you can hear it? if I send you their phone number, can I have you call the Constitution Party for me? They want to speak. Or can somebody dial for me? You're muted.
We do dial it?
Who can dial it? Arlena, can you dial it?
Yeah, what's the number?
Thank you. Dial it, please.
I'm gonna send it to you private.
Okay. All righty then.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. There comes a number in, it's in the chat box there. Can you see it?
Let's see, I don't see it yet.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's going to, okay, there's the number, Arlena. We got it.
Okay. Okay, I see it now.
All right, I'm gonna let him speak. I'm gonna mute myself.
The number or code you have dialed is incorrect. Please check the number or code and try again.
Hold on, I might have taken it down wrong. Hang on.
Okay.
It's, Okay, I think that's the same number I gave you. Oh, no, there's the correct number. It's the same number I gave you, only it's 617 area code.
Oh, okay.
Hello, please state your name after the tone and Google Voice will connect you.
Arlena Willis.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi, am I on live now through you?
Yes, I am. Fran, say hello. Yeah, you're on live.
Okay.
Put the speaker up really loud. Put the speaker up in the volume and put it close to your mic so we can hear him.
And I got muted early on at the very beginning. But long story short, my name is Mario, and I'm the Eastern States Regional Chairman for the National Constitution Party. We are very much in agreement as a national political party and individually throughout the states in the country. We're very much in agreement with the protection of parental rights and with the protection of all rights, all constitutional rights, which are being eroded every single day, all the time, all across the country. I work with the Constitution Party of New York and many, many states in the eastern part of the country. Quite simply and straightforwardly put, there are a lot of people listening right now to this live stream broadcast, whatever you want to call it, and there's a lot of people that will be listening later on as time goes on. And each one of those people that are listening and watching are very much concerned about this issue and any other issue. But the problem is there's so much fracturing going on among people and among political parties and factions among groups and organizations vying and fighting for attention that it causes a lot of harm ultimately in the end. What I would like to offer for all those listening right now is if you want to be a part of a political movement that will help overturn the corruption going on in the courts and the corruption going on in government in general. The best way to do it is to work with a political party that actually is on your side 100%, with no ands, ifs, or buts about it. We are poised to take action directly. But the problem is, there's so much infighting among groups and people that we can't gain traction until we gain numbers of actual members. So I'm just putting it out there. The Constitution Party is on your side and has been on your side for over 25 years. But if everyone on this call listening and everyone watching online joined the Constitution Party of New York, we'd actually start going somewhere, and we'd actually have a real voice in government and in the courts.
Thankfully, right now we're being heard, that we're being heard by New York State for the first time ever. So we really are going someplace right now. So we would really love for the Constitution Party members to, link with us and go forward. We're doing a roundtable next. We made a demand of that. They're already talking abolishment. We don't want it to just end at abolishment. We want it to end completely, not merge like they're talking about. We want to abolish now, and now we want them held accountable with arrests. So, and we're not going to get everybody to join us. We've already learned that. I'm saying not for everyone's going to be. In my groups, we don't have inviting. We've gotten rid of a lot of social media clowns because they're a part of the.
Breaking up. We can't hear you, Fran.
If I could, it would go what you were saying.
You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
I can't hear him. We need to get him a little bit louder.
That is going to
That's the way he was before.
Be a part of the calling for the arrest of politicians, calling for the arrest of the court system, perpetrators of illegal activity. There's a lot of people talking behind the scenes, not publicly but privately, about wanting to do this very same thing, about calling for the arrest and taking action to make sure that people be actually arrested. It does require a lot of strategic planning for this to be done. And I am more than willing to work with everyone and anyone who wants to do such a thing. And I think if we all work together, it can actually happen. Yeah. There is a process by which we can actually call for people's arrests and follow through with it. But it is very tricky, and it requires a lot of very careful planning with very unique, specially suited people. And I can't go into any further detail.
Right. We don't want it further.
That because it's
right. We do that part private.
Now, if anyone wants to talk with me personally, one-on-one, or as a small group, I can go into further details on it. And I would welcome that people get in touch with me and let me know, and or send me a Facebook message or anything like that, and we can discuss it further for the state of New York, and to see what we can do in the state of New York.
Can I ask a question? What about in the state? I'm in a different state. I'm in Arizona. Do they have a group or chapter in Arizona? The United States Constitution?
Yeah, we have representation.
My thing went out. Can you hear me? My sound went out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I can't hear him, but that's what we're going to do now behind the scenes. We're going to work with them behind the scenes now at this point with certain aspects that we're not bringing public. but we are going forward very much so. And we're going to take this forward now very much so. So anybody, we thank you for watching. We thank the Constitution Party of New York. I know they had invited me on a while back, last year I think it was. And I'm very happy to work with them. And everybody here that's willing to go forward, I'm very happy to work with you. I'm looking forward to taking this to the very end of the finish line, and we need to do it, and we obviously need to move fast. Children's lives are in the balance as we speak. Okay, let's do this, everybody. So I'm going to check through chat when I get a chance now through this live video that we just had. Anybody else that wants to join us, please come along and join us. We were planning on having some physical meetings too, hopefully after the first of the year. And I will be speaking again before the New York Assembly on behalf of all the families of New York, and at a roundtable and also at a judiciary board demanding these arrests. So I want to be able to bring this all with me. So I do need a lot of hands on deck and a lot of help, doing this. So I appreciate it. And I am going to wrap it because I do want to get this on the TV stations, and the only way I can is if it's within a certain amount of time. So thank you everybody for watching. This has been 1 hour, so we just made it. So thank you guys for all your interjections and what you had to say. And let's go forward. Let's get this done. Let's get the system abolished. Let's get these psychos arrested, each and every one of these depraved, indifferent, evil inhumans. And let's do what we got to do. So I'm thankful for everybody watching, and have a good day, everybody. Punished for protecting. Thank you. Anybody?